morning, everyone. I'm Jennifer Phillips, and on behalf of the Apprenticeship Illinois Committee of the Illinois Workforce Innovation Board, I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, Build Your Future Workforce, Meet Illinois' Apprentices. This webinar will be recorded. It is being live streamed on YouTube and is available with closed captioning. Your lines are muted now, and we hope to take some questions at the end. Feel free to put them in the chat. This is our capstone National Apprenticeship Week webinar, and we saved the best for last. National Apprenticeship Week is a nationwide celebration that brings together business leaders, career seekers, labor, educational institutions, and other critical partners to demonstrate their support for apprenticeship. If you missed the other 4 webinars, the recordings and the slides are available on our website, and we will post the links in the chat momentarily. I'd like to share a little bit about the committee. The Apprenticeship Illinois Committee is part of the State's Workforce Board, or IWIB, and focuses on 4 strategies: expanding apprenticeships geographically and into new industries, increasing diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility in apprenticeship, formalizing statewide apprenticeship coordination amongst the partnering state agencies, and finally, growing statewide capacity to provide more apprenticeship opportunities to job seekers and to business. This week, there were over 40 in-person and virtual events that happened statewide, plus several national virtual events. The governor issued a welcome to National Apprenticeship Week in a video format and issued his proclamation. 14 cities have issued proclamations. There's just a lot of energy and momentum around apprenticeships in Illinois this week and every day. Please check out the Apprenticeship Illinois website for more details. We are thrilled to have such an esteemed panel of apprentices this morning, and I'd like to introduce you to our moderator, Kathy Meisinger. Kathy is the Director of Strategic Partnerships and Experiential Learning at Elgin Community College. She is also an all-star member of the committee's marketing work group and has been a huge part of making National Apprenticeship Week in Illinois such a success this year. Thank you, Kathy, and I'll let you to take it away to introduce Tiana, Robert, and Abby. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. We are very proud to be here today to highlight the successes of apprenticeship as well as apprentices, because without employers, without education, without, are we okay? I think we've just moved off live. Yes? Okay. Without apprentices themselves, this system does not work. It's really important that we are aligning all required parts of a registered apprenticeship program together to provide the success to the candidates and then a long-term workforce solution for employers. So this morning, we're going to be highlighting and celebrating 4 apprentices, one that is completed and is working at her employer, as well as highlighting reasons why those of you employers who maybe are on the fence might want to actually jump in when you see the type of talent that is available. So first, I'd like to invite Teonna Wilson to unmute herself. Tiana is an apprentice at Aon Corporation, and I would like to thank Jennifer Phillips and Megan Padilla at Aon for facilitating her presence here today. So Tiana, tell us about you, about what occupation you're in, a little bit about Aon and Harold Washington College.
Hello, good morning, everyone. So I served my apprenticeship at Aon in our retirement department. I now hold a full-time position at Aon as a retirement specialist. I graduated from the apprenticeship program in January of 2021. So I did attend Harold Washington College to maintain my associates in marketing and business management while also working my apprenticeship at Aon. The apprenticeship was for 2 years. I stayed in my current role throughout the entire apprenticeship program. It started in January of 2019.
Wonderful. So how did you learn about apprenticeships? Had you ever heard of them before?
So I did hear of them before, but I always thought it was kind of more, I've heard of apprenticeships in like things like plumbing and lighting and like those type of fields, but I really didn't really hear too much of any apprenticeship programs that helped you get back into school and offered actual permanent jobs. So I actually heard about Aon apprenticeship program through a contact that I had that worked at Hampshire, Washington. So they worked with the program Year Up, which is a similar program. They helped me get through school, get a certificate in financial operations, as well as offered support and apprenticeship, technical support and apprenticeship. So I learned about the apprenticeship program from one of my contacts.
Wonderful. And what were you doing when you learned about this opportunity?
So at the time I was working 2 part-time jobs. One was at a restaurant and one was at a call center. At that time, I was just trying to look for a more stable, permanent, full-time career job. And I also at the moment was looking to get back into school as well.
And so how did this opportunity fit your goals?
So I actually was looking to get into school for business, and I was in the process of enrolling at Hampshire, Washington to pursue my associates in business as well. So kind of like when I learned about the different positions and the degree that we obtain once we're done, and it was kind of like aligned with my goals and what I was looking for, I was just like, this is something that's perfect for me. At the time, I was doing interview after interview for various positions, and it just really wasn't working out. And I knew that any other position, I would have to do school full-time as well as work full-time. And I just couldn't at the time figure out how I was going to do that.
And how did Aon jump in and help you with that?
So Aon helped because they allowed us to work part-time and then do school full-time. So with the Aon program, we worked a total of 40 hours throughout the week. And that was split between our school hours and our office hours.
Wonderful. So what would have happened if you didn't get an apprenticeship in this area? Where do you think you'd be now?
I do see myself in a similar position. I don't see myself in the career field or trajectory that I'm going in now. I don't know how long it would have taken me to at least complete my associates, because I knew that I would have probably had to go to school part-time just so I can make enough money to make ends meet, or just kind of like be a little more financially free to pay for school and work full-time as well. So I don't see myself in the current role or even knowing about the current role that I'm in now. So right now, I do work alongside actuaries, which this career path was introduced to me through Aon. I didn't know what an actuary was before Aon, and now it's something that I'm looking to pursue as a career.
That is just so exciting, because when employers have difficulty finding qualified candidates, sometimes the best candidates are actually sort of homegrown in a way, because you didn't even know about it. And now you want that to be your career pathway.
Yeah.
Right. So how does it feel to be an apprentice? And what do your friends and family think about it?
Through the apprenticeship, they've offered so much support from Aon, my team, here at Washington. We also worked with a nonprofit organization who kind of just like provided us training and made sure everything was going good throughout the apprenticeship, which was 1 million degrees. So it kind of just like was great. Everything was great. There was so much support. I learned so much throughout the 2-year journey. I'm still learning a lot now, especially like helping newer apprentices and talking to them about my experience. But my family also loved the program, and kind of like where they seen the program and working for Aon and going to school was taking me. I also introduced the apprenticeship program to some of my siblings and family friends, and also other family members, and everyone was interested. I even got 2 of my younger sisters to apply, and a few other of our family friends, and they also were accepted into the apprenticeship program.
Congratulations. That's a big win when we can expand the pool of people coming into any industry. So congratulations, Tiana. I know that you've agreed to do this particular webinar, but what other types of things have you done to promote Aon and apprenticeship models?
So I've also spoke to students at Harold Washington College, just through like word of mouth, just like sharing on like social media and things when there's openings or they're recruiting for the apprenticeship program. And I usually try whenever there's anything available like this to speak about my experience, I always try to make myself available when anyone reaches out to me.
That's really fantastic. So what would you say to employers who happen to be on the fence about why, from your vantage point as a completed apprentice, why they should consider starting an apprenticeship program?
I would definitely say that it does help change lives. Beforehand, I really didn't see myself in this position, making as much money as I do, completing my degree as fast as I did, and just working with Aon in the apprenticeship program and just like knowing the things that they do, it helped boost my confidence, especially when looking at other positions and taking myself more serious, and just helping to like learn about myself in the world as well around us. I would definitely say do it. You don't know how you can change someone's life. You don't know the impact you can make on a community, a person. So yeah.
That's just really exciting. And I should mention, Jennifer had said you could put questions in the chat. If you want to put some in for Tiana right now, we can do that way, or as you are thinking about a question, you can go ahead and put it in, and Jennifer will just jump in and ask the question. There might be questions to come, Tiana.
Okay, no problem.
I thank you very much. And it sounds like you're on a terrific pathway that truly aligns with your long-term goal, which you had prior, but you weren't sure how and when you were going to get there. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Our next panelist is on video today. Her name is Laura Black. She is currently in a clinical for her apprenticeship, and we had a bad feeling she was going to need to be there today, so we taped her. She is a firefighter paramedic apprentice at the Hampshire Fire Protection District and a student at Elgin Community College. I want to thank Deputy Chief Eric Larson for facilitating time for Laura to be with us. So do we have her video queued up?
We do, yeah.
Wonderful.
I'm Laura Black, and I work at Hampshire Fire Department, where we are now. Firefighter paramedic. So I'm going through paramedic student now. So I'm a student, but I'm currently an EMT. I'm a year along right now. So right out of high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be like somewhere in the medical field. Didn't know really where exact. So I was like, okay, I think EMT is a good place to start. So I just went straight into EMT school out of high school. And as I was in EMT school, this guy named Brian Thompson, he's at ECC. He's like the guy that controls it all in the background for me. He's awesome. He comes into class one day and he goes, hey, like all you EMTs, if you're looking to be a firefighter one day, I have this awesome internship for you guys to take an opportunity of. All you have to do is sign up and get an interview, and you guys can possibly get like a second interview and get sponsored to go through the fire academy. I was on the fence about that. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready yet because I'm still 18, 19. I was like, I don't know, like maybe. Still figuring it out for sure. So on the day of our EMT final, I signed up and I was like, okay, I think I'll do the interview. So within the next 20 minutes, I was in an interview with chiefs for Hampshire and Burlington. I went in with like ripped jeans and a Clemson hoodie, like complete, not even dressed for an interview, like you really should be. But I went in fully honest and was like, okay, I'm gonna give it my shot, give it my all. And next thing I know, I got a call back the next day saying, hey, they want you out of like other people. So if you want it, you can take it and they'll sponsor you through the academy. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. Let's do it. So from there on, I started the academy and I worked at Hampshire as an intern, wasn't paid for a couple months. And then as time went on, I got out of the academy, got actual BOF certified. I was EMT as well. So they said, hey, once you turn 21, you can actually like start working and making money. And I was like, really developed a love for it after that. So here I am now going through paramedic school too. Honestly, without this opportunity to meet the chiefs and get where I am now, I don't know where I'd be, honestly. It was one of those moments of, I'm going to go after it and see what happens. And then I just kept doing what I needed to do and got my schoolwork all in line. And it led me to the station. And from there on, I just loved it. I loved the whole family aspect of it. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I definitely want to do. I found a love for it. So it definitely got me where I am today. Honestly, I had nothing really related or no one related to the fire service. So I didn't really get into that, I don't know what you would call it, like whatever people like say, hey, like that's a male dominated like career. You probably shouldn't go for it. If you are, like, you're going to have people looking at you strange or, you know, maybe commenting on you strange. But I honestly didn't think about it like that. I just knew, like, I think if you're strong enough and mentally strong enough and you kind of like prove it, they'll all see it, you know. It's not one of those things like, oh, I'm a woman, they already know something about me. Like, they already have that vision. No, it's not like that at all. They're all accepting. And as long as you're hardworking and you show that you love the job and you want to be here every day, day in and day out, it doesn't even come off like that one bit. And that's what I loved about it. And I got more into it and people started saying that. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. I didn't even think about it like that. But it definitely takes a certain girl, I guess you could say, because it's hard work. You know, you get dirty and you have to lift heavy and keep up with very strong guys. But for sure, it's like you all develop a love for it and you got to have the strength for sure. I'm glad I took it for sure. It got me where I am now, where I am today, and I love it. And it also like helps me pay because this is a very expensive career. Schooling, because it's continuing education over the years. Like that's the only way you get higher rank is if you keep going through school. And it helps me pay through school. And, you know, I have like teachers and Brian Thompson, they come up and they call me, they email me, make sure I'm doing okay. Like, what do I need? Like, it's very helpful. And they help pay for your books. They make sure you're in the right step, in the right direction. They make sure you need to go where you need to go. And without that guidance, I really don't know where I'd be. Probably still in EMT, trying to find a job for sure. There's a lot of things that make it rewarding, honestly. Like I said, one, they help me pay for it. And it's very expensive. And yeah, my parents pay for my college, but getting that half that tuition back, as well as making good grades and kind of, it's like a reward itself. Like, hey, you're doing a good job. So here's like half your tuition back, you know, it helps you pay. Another part of it was definitely having this family aspect here. I wouldn't have met the people I have today. They're like my family for sure. And they all look out for each other and it's like a home. It's my second home. I love it here. Like I can work out, I sleep, I eat. Like it's just something you don't find at a different job, you know. It's the best job in the world. It really is. You find lifelong friends, and it's awesome. I'm hopefully going to graduate with paramedic and be a firefighter paramedic. And if Hampshire allows, I'm going to test for full-time here. And with full-time, you get obviously more money. And, you know, then from there I can focus on like future as in like family, kids, and all of that. Being a firefighter is the best thing in the world. Kids love it. I love it. Yeah, get full-time somewhere, test somewhere. I talk about it with the guys I work with here. I tell them what's going on and what I'm in right now, because they're asking how I get half the money back after a class. Like they see like chief come up to me and say, hey, like I have half your tuition for you. And they're like, how did you do that? And it's like, well, don't know, but made it work. So they see it. They wish they've done it and they had the opportunity to when they went through. I tell my family about it and they're super proud about it. My father, my mom, they're like, that's awesome. They appreciate it because they get half their money back for tuition. As for friends, I don't know. When I go through school, I tell people about it, but it's more of like, yeah, you should definitely check it out if they're doing it still, you know, because it's brand new. When I started, I was like one of the, you know, newer people starting it. And going through paramedic school right now, I definitely tell the guys about it. I'm like, hey, like there's this program you guys can sign up for. And it helps you through all your classes and people will help you go in the right direction. You know, they'll help you with your career. When I first started here, I definitely tell the guys, because when you first start in the fire service, they all ask you like, why do you want to be a firefighter? You know, that's the big question because they want to make sure you're motivated to be here. And I just tell them like, you know, I'm very grateful for all the opportunities I've had and all the people who've got me where I am now. And I don't take it lightly. I make sure I do everything in my power to keep going and, you know, make those people proud and why they like help me get where I am today. It's a hard career to get into overall, whether you're a male or a female. It's very difficult, you know. And as long as you like get help along the way and you just show how appreciative you are, it just puts you in a humble position and the guys see it and it just puts a lot of trust in them and you that you're like, okay, you want to be here and you want to work. For me, I was very young when I started and an EMT, like there's a bunch of other young kids as well. And I know they want to be in a fire department and I still know some guys that haven't gotten that far yet. And they should definitely consider this program because I at least love the work. And I know one other kid I went through school with, he's still here today. He's one of my best friends, but we're like, we show up for work and we work together and it's fun. And it's amazing. And I know he enjoys it. He loves the job now. Now he's at another department, but I'm just like, it's a good way for the youth to get their feet wet and their foot in the door when they don't know how or where to start exactly. Like for me, an instance, I had no family in the fire service. So it was like hard to get into and not knowing where to go or where to start exactly. But it's a good way for like young people to get into this career and kind of get like a path to follow, you know, and have some good guidance. ECC is a huge role. I take all my classes there that help me learn and be in my career where I am now. It's not easy for sure. There's a lot of schooling that needs to go into it. And it can be misleading at sometimes, but ECC plays a huge role. I started there. Yes, I took EMT, but along with EMT, I was taking other fire science classes. That's what kind of like lit the fire for me. I was like, okay, I want to start here. But then like I'm always doing ECC stuff. So right now the paramedic program is through ECC. We're just at the Sherman Hospital doing the class and doing all of our clinicals. They're behind the scenes, like that's all. Like I still go to the campus, you know, use their library, use all their resources. I sign up for classes there and it's like, you know, they definitely help me where I am. And they make sure I sign up and I have everything done and paid for and that, you know, I'm good to go without, you know, any misleading information.
Thank you to Laura. Does anybody else see any mirroring of what Tiana said. Tiana's goals were definitely a little bit more firm before she joined into apprenticeship, but both of them really didn't know how to break into a field that they had interest in or didn't even think they could get in or know about. So I think that's pretty exciting for both. The other thing I'd like to highlight for the firefighter paramedic apprenticeship is that it is what's called a front-loaded apprenticeship, meaning you have to have your EMTB license before you're accepted into the apprenticeship program. So when you heard about Laura saying that she did an internship first, that really was because she wasn't qualified to be in the apprenticeship program yet. And once she got through her initial classes and was licensed as an EMTB, she was qualified and got hired on. So just to let you know, there are many different registered apprenticeship models that might work for you. And we're happy to help you find what works for you, all employers. So it is my pleasure next to introduce Robert Coates from Terra Global. I want to thank Lee Reese and Barbara Yeoman, who helped facilitate having Robert here today. And I'm excited to hear your story, Robert. So tell us about, who you are, what your occupation is, and a little bit about the company. And you're at SWCC, so Southwestern Community College.
I'm Robert. I'm 19. I've been working at Terra Global for 2 years as a welder.
Robert, may I ask you to talk a little bit louder?
My name is Robert. I'm working at Terra Global. I've been here for 2 years. I joined the apprenticeship program during high school, actually, and I worked halfway through my senior year, going halfway to half the day to college, half the day to work, and then after I got out, then I hopped into the apprenticeship program, and then I was able to work time and go to college also.
That's great. And so what position are you in at TerraSource?
I'm a welder.
Okay. Yes, you did say that. I'm sorry. I appreciate that. So how did you learn about apprenticeships?
Well, I actually didn't know much about it. There was actually a couple jobs that come from high school because I went to a technical high school. So I was able to do like trades there. That's how I learned. And they will always talk about apprenticeship programs, but they were more like, the young guys get the sucky jobs while the older guys get to do all the good stuff. But what came through, they actually offered to have us work on the field the first week, actually, getting out there, and which was like eye catcher for me. So that's how we heard about it.
You mind, Robert, elaborating on what you mean by I think you said sucky jobs?
Like, for instance, like there was companies that would like say the welders will weld the pipes and the apprentices would dig the trenches and stuff like that. Those type of jobs, like.
So a job that doesn't allow you to actually use your skills.
Till, you get far enough. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you. And so how did you connect with TerraSource? I know there's a good story behind this.
So, I think it was around October 2019. They came into my high school, my technical high school, because I'm
going to ask you to talk a little louder again, Robert.
Okay. So they actually came into my technical high school, and because I went to 2 high schools. I had a regular one for half a day, and the second half of the day I go to the technical high school. So they actually came in during the second. They were talking about having us take a field trip out to the plant because they were trying to field, and my teacher accepted it. So we actually went out there and we walked around the plant. They introduced us and stuff, and actually everybody had some interest, and I actually really liked it. So my teacher arranged the setup, and he got me here.
That's wonderful. So how did you go through the process to become an apprentice?
So what I did, they had they basically worked out a way for me to go to my normal high school. And then when I leave to go to tech high school, instead of going to the high school, I go to the actual job and I get credit at my tech high school for working at the job. And so that's how that worked. And see, the way I got in is kind of, they actually sent test plates over for me to weld on and practice and stuff. And I actually had to make a test build, basically read a print and put the pieces together before it's the print to make sure they knew what I was doing. And I put it together pretty well. And they saw and they were like, yeah, we like it.
That's pretty exciting. So you had enough basic skills that you were actually able to do something that perhaps a welder who had been out in the field for some time would test on, correct?
Yeah, yes, because I actually went to the technical high school my junior year also. So I was there for 2 years.
Okay, great. What would you be doing now if you didn't get this apprenticeship?
I would still be a welder because I actually quite enjoy the trade. I wouldn't be nearly as far as I am now because of how all the opportunities they opened up for me basically to be able to increase my wage and increase my education.
You know what? Actually, I remember some things that you had previously told me about how you actually sort of expanded your own horizons at work. Do you mind talking about that?
So I actually teach the new students because in the high school, you go through a co-op program. Basically, you work with somebody who's been there and they basically show you the ropes and stuff, teach you how to do stuff. And then after you graduate from high school, they'll offer you a full-time job and they'll offer you the apprenticeship program, which will allow you to go to college and work there full-time. So I teach the new co-op students that are right now in high school until they get out of the high school and have to go to college. And I actually brought that idea up because we've had 3 waves of co-op students already. I was actually the very first, and we had the second wave around like summer this year. And I saw that the older guys it was kind of awkward because they didn't really know how to teach the younger guys because they were, they've been out of school for so long, they don't have the same thought process as us. So that's how I had approached my lead man about it. I was like, hey, I think it would be a good idea if I could try to teach the students because I kind of know how they think. So I have a better way of teaching them, I feel like. So he tried the idea out and it's been going well so far.
And I know that your employer, Barbara, has told me that they're very proud of you. So that's really exciting. So to have somebody who's been there for a short period of time to see an issue that could be corrected or updated or tweaked, whatever way you look at it, it's really exciting. I mean, that's really a pat on the back to you, Robert. So how would you say your life's changed as a result of the registered apprenticeship program?
Oh, quite a bit. So I actually really had no plans on actually trying to teach new apprentices or anything like that. And but I've kind of always been that type of person, like in school, if somebody was struggling, I would help them out and stuff. And when I started doing this and we started seeing how well it was going, it had opened more opportunities. And actually my school actually knows about the program. And they actually we're in talks of me becoming a part-time mentor at my college to help teach some other students. So I would go there in the morning to teach and I'll come here and work in the afternoon.
Wonderful. And how the apprenticeship model where you're actually getting on the job learning as well as related technical instruction in the classroom, how has that benefited you in your growth as a welder?
So I feel like the best way to teach anybody is on the job, especially with like trades, because a lot of people can't really learn how to do a trade just by listening. So like actually having people out here doing stuff off the door and doing, being in the real field is definitely much more beneficial in class. But there's also some stuff you can't learn out here in the field that the class will teach you. So that's why it's a benefit to have both.
So the employer is getting the best of both worlds, so to speak. That's really great. What does it feel to be an apprentice, and what do your family and friends think about it?
It feels pretty good. My friends and my family, my mom is always golden about me. She's always talking about so he makes so much money. It's just like I just do my part. I try to work hard and stuff. And my friends and my family see that, and they actually they're proud of me too. And yeah.
Wonderful. That's really great. So have you promoted apprenticeships to other people, made presentations or told other people about Terra or?
So I usually approach my friends. It's kind of, they're usually not very enthusiastic about it because they don't know how to hop into a trade. People often think it's harder than it actually is. I also talked to some of the students at school because those students are people, they don't actually have a welding job yet, so they're trying to get in the field. So I talked to them a little bit and handed out some job fair. We had a job fair a couple weeks ago, handed out some flyers, try to get the word out.
That's great. Did you have any individuals who wanted to come and work for Terra from that job fair?
There was one, I can't remember what his name was, but yeah, he was. And then we actually had another student who didn't come to the job fair that I'm actually going to be training soon, sometime next year. So that's pretty good.
Wow, that's really great. Apprentices promoting apprenticeship to other candidates is really a big benefit of this particular program. So what do you see yourself doing in the future?
I definitely still see myself being a welder. I'm kind of picturing myself being a teacher. It's kind of weird because I never really liked school. It wasn't my thing. That's why I became a welder, and that's why I worked so hard in my high school, so I didn't have to go to college, but I ended up doing it anyways, which was definitely a benefit. I'm glad I did. But I actually see myself kind of teaching other students how to weld.
So getting a promotion up the ladder to the level of leadership role. Congratulations. That's great. So tell me about, you had mentioned something about anxiety about knowing what was going on in the real world. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
So I often see like a lot of high school students that, especially ones that don't know what they're going to do right out of high school. I kind of was one. They often have a lot of anxiety about, should I go to college? Should I not? What about student debt? What about, should I get a job? What type of job? Stuff like that. So I feel like the apprenticeship program offering a good benefit can really help ease the anxiety, help offer a better opportunity to somebody who's anxious and doesn't know what they want to do, something like that. And it can really ease up a lot of tension for them. It eased up a lot of tension for me getting a job at Terra. I didn't even know how I wanted to go.
Great. The other thing you had mentioned was talking about everything you've learned from people who have been on the job for a long time.
So one thing they always talk about, especially in high school, when I was going through the trades, is about how the older guys, the baby boomers, are starting to retire. They're taking all that knowledge with them. So being able to go out there and get all that info from them before, they retire is definitely very important because they know they've been there for like 30 plus, 40 plus years. They know all the stuff. So getting all that info from them directly, it was like a big benefit working on the site.
That's wonderful. Let me ask you the same question that I asked Tiana about if there are employers on the call today who are on the fence about possibly starting a registered apprenticeship program. From your view, what advice or thoughts would you share with them?
Few things. One, I feel like it would definitely be a benefit, especially if you approach the idea right, as in like being able to offer them good benefits right out the door, because it'll like if you really can't pass up a good deal to get one, especially when you're still in high school or right out of high school. And another big thing is patience, because I see this a lot. Is a lot of people see the apprentices and they learn pretty fast and they catch on the information really quickly. Sometimes they can like get a little ahead of themselves, and people think that students can do more than they really can, and they really can because they don't have as much knowledge. So having that patience to work with them and understand that they're not able to do everything right off the bat is definitely important.
Thank you for your insight, Robert. Really appreciate it. And I see some real connections between Tiana and Robert in terms of the expansion of opportunities. So Robert with the possible teaching, being a lead in that, and Tiana learning about becoming an actuary and actually learning about what that is. And we need actuaries, that's for sure. So this is really a great program to allow you to do that. Thank you. Our last panelist today, but certainly not the least, is Abby Sadler. And I need to thank Abby for filling in at the last moment for someone else who was unable to make it. So thank you very much, Abby. And a big call out to Karen Kreider from FHN Hospital System, as well as Alicia. Oh gosh, Alicia, I'm sorry, I just forgot your last name. Kepner from Highlands Community College. So welcome, Abby. Please share with us, what occupation you're in. Tell us a little bit about the hospital and your experience at the school.
So I'm Abby. So I am working at FHN here in Freeport, Illinois. I'm at Burchard Hills, kind of like an office clinic. And I am taking classes at Highland Community College. I am in the medical assistant apprenticeship program. So I get to do, I'm taking medical assistant classes and I get to do medical assistant hands-on stuff at the clinic as well. So that's kind of that.
That's fantastic. So Abby, how did you learn about apprenticeships?
So I'm actually just kind of fresh out of high school. I graduated in May, and my academic advisor, actually, she knew that I kind of wanted to get into the healthcare field, and she was kind of looking out for me, and she came across the medical assistant apprenticeship program that Highland had, and she emailed me about it, and I got interested in it.
That's exciting. So how did Highland then connect you with your employer?
So they just kind of talked to me. They asked me like what I was kind of interested in, what I was kind of thinking I wanted to do as a career wise. I kind of loved working with kids growing up. I would babysit kind of like in my small town that I grew up in. And I just kind of always had a passion working with kids. So they kind of worked around what they could do for me. And I'm actually working in a pediatric part. So it really worked out.
So just like Tiana and Robert and Laura, it aligned with the goals that you somewhat had set, but weren't sure how you were going to get there. That's pretty exciting. So what would you be doing now if you didn't get this apprenticeship?
Honestly, I would probably be struggling trying to get through my medical assistant degree
And
financially.
when you, oh, thank you. So tell us a little bit about that.
Because the apprenticeship program, it really helped out a lot financially with me and my family. Because growing up, we had quite a bit of money problems, and the apprenticeship program really helped out.
That's great. So what does your family and friends think about the program?
They are so very grateful. We all are. I am very grateful. They're very proud, and they're so happy.
That's great. So would you say your life has changed in any way since you
Oh,
earned?
very much so. Very
And
much.
in what ways?
So like I said, I definitely wouldn't be where I am if I didn't get this apprenticeship. I would not be as far as I am in my career. I would probably be still working at part-time at the restaurant I was working at in high school. I
You had talked, and now remember, audience, Abby just joined us, so she didn't have these questions ahead of time, and I promised that I wouldn't let her struggle. So thank you, Abby. So talk about your experience with the aligned work at the hospital clinic and the classroom uh, at Highland.
So it actually works out very well. So a lot of our classmates are hands-on learners, and so it's really nice with the apprenticeship. So what we learn in class really just clicks on what we do in the clinic. So everything just kind of makes sense, and we can do everything that we learn in class in the clinic, and it all makes sense, and it works together perfectly.
So there's not a lot of struggle academically because you have the other on the
And that
job.
everyone at the clinic is so helpful. They're really wonderful.
I think we heard Tiana and Laura say exactly the same thing. And actually, I know, Robert, you had told me that separately. But tell us about your career path. You have an interesting story about what you were thinking and what might it be now.
So I've always kind of wanted to be a nurse. But with this apprenticeship, and seeing how um, all of these medical assistants work, and just seeing school-wise and the clinical setting and what I'm doing, I've kind of came to the conclusion I might just want to stay as a medical assistant through this, just seeing how this apprenticeship plays out, and just seeing how what I do as a medical assistant.
So that to me means that you're very inspired and excited by your work. Is that true?
Very true, yes.
Gotcha. And you do have your passion to work with kids too, so you still have that. Um, Tell me about your coworkers.
They are very sweet. I ask questions whenever I have them. They're always help out. They are very, very sweet. They're always there.
They're always there. I think that's an important piece for employers to hear that, you definitely want a top-down support for apprenticeships because you want it to be something that every layer of management, whether it's many or it's a flat organization and there's few, to be supportive and assisting apprenticeships and apprentices in learning opportunities. So what about your promotion of medical assisting apprenticeships to others and FHN as a whole?
So every chance that I get, when I hear someone wants to get into the medical field, I always tell them about, oh, Highland has this amazing apprenticeship program, just to get their feet in the water, just so that they have that opportunity. Actually, just a few weeks ago, we had a patient come in. She brought her kid in just a checkup, and she was wearing Highland scrubs. She had a phlebotomy class, and I was telling her about the Highland apprenticeship program, and she was getting all intrigued and excited about it, and she said that she was really interested and she had to take a look at it.
Congratulations. Employers, wouldn't you love to have additional people help you to spread the word about you being an employer of choice in your community? I think that's very valuable, and that type of loyalty really can't be bought specifically. So thank you. The last question I want to ask you, Abby, is for employers who might be on the fence about joining or creating registered apprenticeship programs, from your viewpoint, what would you say to them?
It is a wonderful opportunity. I don't see why you wouldn't want to take that opportunity. It is just a wonderful thing to do, especially if you want to get into the medical field. It's one step in front of the other. It's just a wonderful way to get your feet into the water, and it's a great way to start.
Thank you very much. And thank you to all of you, Tiana, Laura, Robert, Abby, and your employers. You're superstars. You are shining beacons of hope for employers who have difficulty finding qualified candidates for their positions. So you keep on doing that. And you're just one four of, I think there's like over 16,000 apprenticeships in the state of Illinois across all occupations. So you are to be commended. So I am clapping, and I'm sure everyone else who's listening in is clapping. I do believe that Mike Connelly would like to finish out our conversation. Mike?
I would, Kathy, and thank you for that. So I got on the call and didn't expect to say anything, but honestly, I'm very inspired by all of you because you show what can happen when we unlock human potential. And I want all of you to know, as much as you appreciate the opportunities that apprenticeship has given you, how important all of you are to the process as well, because you give great value to the employers that you work for. And I want to tell Robert that he probably doesn't know me, but that I am the Director of Workforce Development at Southwestern Illinois College, and I hope to meet you one day. We're very appreciative of the partnership that we have with Terra and others in the region. And so thanks for sharing your story. And thanks, Abby and Tiana, also, because you guys are truly inspiring to those of us that work in this arena. So thanks very much.
Jennifer, would you like to close us out?
You bet. And I would just like to echo the thanks. Thank you, Tiana, Robert, Abby. You're amazing. I can't wait to hear if we have another panel next year, to hear where you are and the amazing leadership that you're all providing to your companies and just your personal trajectories of success. So thank you for sharing. And for those of you that don't know, I think I put this in the chat, but Michael Connelly is the chair of Apprenticeship Illinois Committee and is our fearless leader and champion of apprenticeships statewide. So Mike, thank you so much for hopping on to say thank you. This is, like I said, this was our capstone webinar, and the recording will be on the website. I posted lots of links in the chat. Please find us, like us on social media, follow the story. Today is the end of National Apprenticeship Week in Illinois, but it is not the last day that we celebrate apprentices and employers. Countless people are doing that statewide on so many different levels: apprentices, employers, the educational partners, and more. So a huge thank you to everybody. Kathy, amazing job narrating and interviewing everybody today. So thank you for your leadership as well. So thanks everybody, and have a great rest of National Apprenticeship Week in Illinois.